Joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, he is Zach Kaplan from WNCT Channel 9. Hey, Zach.
Hey, Clip, how are you?
I got this giant smile on my face just talking to you in here because you are either a very unique person or just your average alien from another planet. I don't know which one.
Well, some would say I'm from Mars. You know, my sports takes come from Mars sometimes.
But great to have you here.
Great to be here.
Is your back touching the cushion in the chair?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, just making sure.
That's what we're
Had
laughing
a big
about.
discussion before the interview as Zach was sitting basically on the edge of his seat because that's his normal way of sitting apparently.
I don't know. I feel like I gotta
You got to be right in. You gotta
maybe
get
it's
right
the
in there.
news. Maybe it's the news person in me. I got to be like right, you know, at
Maybe so.
the edge of your screen. Don't go away. We got this.
For our YouTube audience, you can check that out. For our radio audience, it's just theater of the mind. But glad to have you here, Zach.
We're gonna have some posture reviews in the YouTube comments for sure.
Well, I mean, I'm nobody to talk, but when I'm in a comfortable chair like this, I like to enjoy it for all that it is. These chair makers made this chair to be comfortable and to sit back in, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do that.
I feel comfortable.
Okay, as long as you're comfortable.
I got the cushion here. Now I like the setup.
You being comfortable makes everybody uncomfortable. Zach, you are a man of your word. You said last week that when Jarrett Watkins made his PA debut, you would get video of him and throw it on the news, and you did, and we got some mileage out of that on Monday, so thank you.
I heard the cut. I said to Jarrett when I was at Sports Trivia, I heard the cut of me saying his voice, and I was like, I didn't think I sounded that different. I don't know, but then I listened to you guys play it just out of context. I sound very
you sound
up
very
like this.
excited. Yeah.
I was just so excited.
Jarrett Watkins.
I was just so excited to show J-Bone on the news.
Yeah.
You know, just something about it.
We are a bit of a slow sports news time around here, Zach.
Yeah, it is.
Things to talk about.
Kind of like you guys. Big thing is just who's leaving, who's staying for ECU baseball.
Yeah.
And now kind of the other domino effects around at other schools. So Chris Pollard leaving Duke is pretty surprising,
Yeah.
I would say, to a lot of people. I don't know. Some people were trying to play like Captain Obvious about it. I don't think it was that obvious that he was just going to leave like not even 24 hours after they lost to Murray State. But
Mike Mullins knew about it 3 years ago.
well, he actually is connected though. I'm talking like people on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like he would know that. I'm talking just like, oh yeah, saw this one coming. I'm like, I didn't.
That's a classic Josh Graham move. I don't know if he had any take on this, but he was a huge.
I don't know if he did.
This is obvious. Yeah, this was obvious.
Yeah, I'm like, it wasn't obvious to me, and he's already.
The fact that it happened like minutes after his team was eliminated too.
I think Kendall Rogers tweeted like maybe a few hours after the game
crazy.
that they were like locked in on him as a target. So really, that and the ECU baseball, who's in, who's out.
Yeah, that has been what we've been discussing quite a bit as well, and I'll get your take on it, Zach. What do you think about the exits and the guys that remained on ECU's baseball team and how it affects them going into next season?
I think Pirate fans should feel pretty good that they've kept the, you know, who I would consider main guys, important guys. You needed Norby back, you needed Burris back, you needed Irby to start. You know, all three guys get honored by Perfect Game on Tuesday of this week, and I think the fact that you're able to keep all three of them, you know, some other guys that are important as well, like Trammell, and you know, brings, you know, already starting to bring new guys in. You're starting to see those tweets as we sit here and record on Wednesday. So I think you can feel good about it. The guys who are leaving, I mean, I look at a few of them and say, you know, I look at Lance Williams and Bradley Zayak. I'm like, you had one good start, and if you can cash in on it, you know, by all means, certainly, you know, they had stretches where they pitched well during the season, but really had one good postseason start that probably got them the attention. But if you can get money, if you can, you know, go play at another program, I understand it. But
if you have one good
you know,
sportscast and somebody in Bristol happens to see it, you could cash in.
Yeah.
And I mean, we could question it. Why are they? But you had that dynamite sportscast.
Is it the one I mentioned Jarrett's name in?
Yes,
Is that, okay.
and it took off. But no, I'm joking, Zach. But yeah, good for them. I say. I don't.
If you can get money, I mean, yeah, by all means.
I mean, everybody's fighting for it. I feel like a lot of folks that hate this stuff are just and at East Carolina, there's not a bunch of millionaires running around on the field, and I think that's also people don't understand that. But I think a lot of folks are just turned off to college age kids having more money than they are, and it upsets them.
Yeah, I definitely think that's part of it, and just the still processing of the new era that we're in with NIL, with rev share. The House settlement has been passed, and that's going to have an impact on schools across America.
A whole nother thing to comprehend as far as college athletics.
And John Gilbert has to figure out what ECU's role is in revenue share and how that works. I do think they're at least coming off of a good school year to be doing that. If we were talking this conversation a year ago where every sport except baseball kind of fell short, that would be rough. But this past school year was really excellent. I mean, ECU's one of maybe 15, 20 programs in the nation that, really every major sport was above 500 or at least competitive. So.
Something to be said about that.
Yeah. I certainly think so. Yeah.
And you just said it. Mac McCarthy brought up an interesting question yesterday. We have posted it on X. Have you got your answer, Jarrett? Well, I will bring you in. I answered as well. We'll get Zach's take on it. What's impacted your view of college athletics the most in the last few years? A, the transfer portal. B, NIL. C, conference realignment. And I think I answered the question wrong now that I think about it.
I look at it a little differently as someone who pays a lot of attention to the Big Ten.
And as an alien.
And someone who sits like an alien. I think it's close, but I probably go conference realignment first, portal second, NIL third.
We'll give our answers, and we can talk about why. Maybe I didn't read the last few years because there hasn't been a ton of, although I guess Texas and Oklahoma. Well, what am I talking about? We had the Pac-12 disband, so it has happened. I said conference realignment because that got the ball rolling on the dramatic changes that we've seen in college athletics. And it probably didn't go hand in hand with portal and NIL, but it affected my viewing and my enjoyment the most because as a North Carolina kid who's been to the ACC tournament and grew up on it, like Pitt and Stanford playing the ACC tournament is about the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. So seeing those things from an ECU standpoint, maybe it's transfer portal, but for those that have been around a long time, I could reel off names like Mike Cook and Frank Robinson and all kinds of Pirates that transferred in basketball before there was a transfer portal. ECU basketball invented the transfer portal. So, we've been going through that forever. Conference realignment was my answer as far as how I view it and kind of took some of my enjoyment away. Jared, what'd you say?
Just for the question as a whole, I did transfer portal because, normally it's all right, basketball's done, we're on to baseball. Now it's you're sitting on the edge of your seat, who's staying, who's leaving. Yeah. And the same for baseball.
It's kind of like the NBA. For me, the offseason is better than the regular season because of the moves.
Well, maybe that's because we cheer for the Hornets, and there's really nothing to talk about during the season. So off season, but as a fan of college football, conference realignment's probably affected it the most. But just ECU centric, it's transfer portal.
Yeah, I could see that. Certainly been impacted by it in baseball and football. I mean, basketball. Again, we had so many transfers even before the portal. How has football been affected?
Football's tough for me with the transfer portal because if Caton Hauser had left, we would have found another guy.
Yeah.
I think it's easier in football to find a replacement.
We were also able to bring him in because of the transfer portal.
But in baseball, if we lose Ethan Norby, I don't think you're going to go in the portal and find somebody that replicates what he did this season. So
we didn't find a Zach Root.
No.
So, yeah.
So it's just varies off sport, but I would just say as a whole transfer portal.
Yeah.
And I think I look at it too, the conference realignment has impacted ECU as well. You have a AAC that used to have Houston, UCF, Cincinnati, and now you replace them with I mean, whoever's new in the conference. I'm blanking here.
FAU, Charlotte.
FAU, Charlotte,
UTSA, North Texas.
Yep. I mean, so it's the conference is probably downgraded in some sports, upgraded in others. And as a Big Ten guy, like playing USC, playing Oregon, playing all these schools that they've never played except in Rose Bowls before is certainly a lot different for Penn State. And then it's the fact that the Big Ten and the Big Ten and the SEC just think they run everything now.
Yeah.
And I think that they feel empowered to do that because the SEC has Texas and Oklahoma in it. The Big Ten has these West Coast schools, the LA schools in it, and they feel like they can kind of tell everyone what to do. And I think that it kind of got the portal going quicker than it would have because I think it's a domino effect.
Well, did you see what Jay Billis said? That the House settlement is going to do away with the transfer portal. Nobody's leaving anymore. That's what Jay Billis said.
Really?
Why did he say that? Because he's saying everybody's going to get their money and they won't be looking at a grass is greener situation.
I'm just filling in the blanks with agreeing.
Perhaps. He also said he had to subpoena Barney the Purple Dinosaur. I saw that on the Rich Eisen show today.
What's the context there?
Just that Jay Billis in his past life as a lawyer once had to get Barney to testify in court.
That's a real story.
Yeah, no, I actually
Okay.
saw that today. I thought that's what you were going to say for a second. I'm like, what would that have to do with anything?
I was trying to keep the ball rolling with the conversation, not abruptly just bring up something else.
In TV, you only get 20-second increments to talk about each topic. So I could see why he was ready to move on.
Barney, throw in Barney.
Zach Kaplan, done and dusted, joining us. We got Jared Watkins, also known as J-Bone from Pirate Radio, joining us as well.
This is where you put the sound effect in.
You made a lot of people
right
happy
here.
with that.
Really?
My uncle came in to his beach trailer drunk, and he's like, "Is that my nephew?" He's like, he had to rewatch it.
What was in that burr?
Yeah, he had to rewatch it the next morning just to make sure it was me.
He was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. Who the hell's J-Bone?
Last time a Watkins was on the news. Well, I'm on a good thing. We can revisit this if y'all want to do some homework, but I thought about it on the way in. While there's nothing going on currently, we're looking ahead to football. How about a 24-25 calendar, ECU calendar? I don't know about awards, but if I say team of the year for ECU Athletics, who would it be?
I'm going to say basketball.
Yeah.
Football. I think the way they turned it around, we won't know until down the road, but if it's the start of something, I think it'll be looked back on a lot differently than it does now.
We'll
see with basketball.
I hate to say it because the coach is a traitor, a no good yellow belly traitor.
Oh,
Women's soccer.
zagging, yeah.
Women's soccer to the tournament.
Won the AAC title.
Yeah.
AAC
What do
tournament.
you mean zagging? I'm picking a winner. I'm picking a team that won a trophy.
It's not the answer many would have expected from you.
What did your teams do?
Football.
Yeah.
Beat an in-state FBS school for the first time this decade.
You say that like it's a big deal.
I think most Pirate fans felt that way.
And what did your team do?
Went over 500 in conference. 120 games. 120 games, man.
Yeah, 120.
They just do it by accident, Cliff. Gosh, this is
Who are the athlete of the year nominees?
Norby.
Yep.
RJ.
Rajay.
Yep.
Raja, Caton.
Yeah. Has to be. Burris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most outstanding. I mean,
I think has to be.
If we
the
did a
country.
newcomer of the year, he'd certainly win that.
yeah, rookie.
Yep.
But could win MVP as well.
Yeah.
Most valuable pirate.
It was nice to see Braden Burris and Yannick Smith, very young guys, go ahead and get into very good roles on the team.
Yeah. Did we have a freshman do that in basketball? I'm trying to recall.
I can't recall.
Jay Shane. Maybe not to their level.
I wouldn't. It's still. I think still you got to put Braden above those guys. But
Jay Shane. I'm ready for Jay Shane.
The Jay Shane train, man.
Get
All
on.
aboard.
Get on.
I think Burris gets Rookie of the Year and 5th in MVP voting.
Wow.
Behind who?
Norby, RJ, Rajay,
RJ.
Maybe English.
Maeve English, yes.
I probably got to put Hauser above him. I think
Put who?
Caden Hauser.
Oh, Hauser.
I think you got to put him above Braden still. It's close though. There's argument.
I disagree.
Yeah.
How about Coach of the Year?
I would
is it
say-
Gary.
Is it Gary?
That no good.
I mean, just how the regular season went in baseball, you got to give it to Cliff. Just pulling that thing together.
Okay.
No?
No.
No. Can you give it to Blake Harrell,
Yes.
even though he only
Yes.
coached a half season?
Yes.
That was my question. Because if we're
Greatest winning percentage in ECU coaching history.
if we're allowed to give it on a 6-game sample size, it would be hard to. And you can
And he
say
won the game of the year. He was your team of the year,
yeah.
and he was the head guy.
What if it's like the NBA awards? I'm trying to divvy it up, make sure everybody gets a trophy.
Yeah, you
and
got
Yeah.
football
keep it
fatigue.
fair.
I hate that crap.
Do I give football team of the year, but Cliff coach of the year?
If
Because
you're
they
doing
turned it around,
NBA
that would
awards
not
and you
work.
name a coach of the year, that coach is going to get fired very soon. So be
Okay.
careful.
Well, all right. Let's not do that then.
How about I just pulled something? Game of the year. If it's not ECU NC State,
It's
what is
ECU
it?
Florida.
Which one?
Both of them.
They weren't great games.
Well, we beat the hell out of them, so that makes
know.
it great.
I know, but I hear you. Maybe that's win of the year.
And we're doing school year, not calendar year, right? Yeah, you said the 24-25 school year.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be the bowl win. I mean, that meant a lot too.
Do we have any good dramatic
Bars.
basketball wins, Bone?
The crazy one
UTSA
at
game?
UTSA.
Yeah. Who was
CJ
that?
Walker.
CJ.
They did not. I mean, they did everything to give that game away. and
What was the
still came
best,
up with it.
most dramatic baseball win this year? Anything come to mind?
Boucher Grand Slam at UNCW comes to mind.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was
Um,
It
good.
was that extra innings, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Davin walks it off. Game 2 doubleheader against UTSA.
Yep. That's a good
Top
one.
25 win.
And that one aged better too because that team went to a super and
Yeah.
It wasn't dramatic,
you know,
but I
could have been
mean,
Omaha too.
Norby with 19 strikeouts against
Yeah.
Coastal.
Maybe
regular
that'll
season.
be performance of the
Performance,
year.
yeah, that would be my performance of the year. I think it's still got to be the bowl game, and yeah, I just think, especially because if they, go on a run here where they're getting to bowl games every year and being the program that people think they can be and they probably should be, then I think you look at that as the start of it.
How about how do we lose that game of the year?
Gardner Webb basketball.
Yeah.
Rice basketball.
Yep.
North
Not
Alabama
North Alabama.
basketball.
'Cause
Okay.
They're really good.
Powerhouse.
They really it gets lost. They really should have beat FAU at the start of the calendar year. That was like
Oh,
a weird
yeah.
game at home.
Yeah.
They blew that one.
Football?
I know baseball's got a couple.
Oh, yeah.
From
Football, how do we lose this? App State, Liberty, those two.
Liberty's the one that really, because there was no energy in that stadium after however many
Had
hours. we were
double-digit
sitting there.
leads in both of those, right?
Yep.
A 14 and a 16-point lead, I think.
Fever Dream Game of the Year, Charlotte football.
That was, I think that'll.
I got a take
go
on
forever.
that. We've been praising, man, it's a new era. Blake Harrell's in. No more Biff, no more Mike Houston. But Blake Harrell's defense got completely trounced in that Charlotte game.
Eviscerated. I think it
Another
was.
great word.
I think at that point in the year, you just saw such a tired team on both sides of the ball, and I know that's
In
weird
week
to-
4.
That's the point I was about to make. I know we're like in early October. Really, yeah. Like I really do think they were like the combination of demoralized by 2 multi-possession blown leads to games you really wanted and App State you needed to have, and I think
That grind of having to play App State and Old Dominion, man, it's brutal.
the Liberty game was really what
Really
took
wears
the
you
wind
down.
out of the sails, and which is weird because they came back and beat UTSA the following week. But I mean, you could tell the air was out of the balloon once the Charlotte game happened.
That was just ugly.
Definitely worst game of the year. Definitely, that's probably a clear. I'd say no question there.
All right. Who was y'all's favorite non-star athlete to talk to?
Talk to.
Like non-obvious, yeah.
It's got to be. I mean, it's easy for me. It's got to be Ethan Young,
Yeah.
aka Diesel.
Yeah.
Okay.
His stuff's good.
That was the.
They had to have a team meeting because he cussed during the
Oh
post-game
yeah,
scrum.
that was right at the beginning of the
I
year.
forgot about that part of it. That was I was archiving old clips, and I want to say that was either the LeClaire weekend or the Carolina series, or they had that midweek with Old Dominion. Speaking of ODU, and that was so funny.
Yeah. Did he talk the rest of the year?
It was one more time afterwards, and Riley
time.
Johnson stood behind the scrum, and Cliff's like, "Make sure he doesn't cuss."
I mean, that was so funny. It's one of those you can't even be mad about. That was
Jordan
just-
Riley was
that's
good
hilarious.
to talk to, just because
Yeah.
he shook
Okay.
everybody's hand afterwards.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get a lot of that.
Maybe he'll be the go-to guy this year.
But you said non-star. I mean, Ethan Young and Jordan Riley were stars on those teams.
Well, I was more so guys we maybe haven't mentioned in this discussion. So
Okay.
those fit the bill.
I think Ethan Young fits. I'm trying to think football now. It's like, Rajay, Caton are both good, but we talk to them all the time. Oh, there's got to be someone on defense who's
Yeah.
like. I always like talking to Big Tay.
Yeah.
We haven't mentioned him. I know he was I'd say he was
Yeah.
a star on last year's team, but like that was he's always great to talk
Great
to.
personality.
I like talking to him.
All right.
Alex Harper.
Off the top of the head, that was good. A good discussion. Maybe I'll come up with some more categories and we can further get into it because we got a lot of time to discuss things this off season for football. Zach, good stuff. What's on your agenda?
We got Big Rock this week. That's kind of the big thing for us. I got a nice little vacation end of next week, so we're like just kind of getting to the finish line here. Work wise, just covering whatever comes up. Really, this week has just been all who's staying, who's leaving, mostly, and then just the super regionals early in the week. It's just Big Rock this weekend. Gonna go down and have a good time there. See if some Marlins come in, and next week see what pops up. See what happens in Omaha. No North Carolina teams in it this year. I mean, that's kind of weird. I don't know about you. It's just kind of not the norm.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that shakes out.
Go Racers, I reckon.
Riding with the Racers
Sure, why not?
and their 800-person seat stadium.
Is that what it is?
I think it's 800 in the grandstand, and people were clowning them on Twitter for it. I'm like, well, they're in Omaha. They already have a Murray State bar. Curious to see if John Morant shows up.
People who like you can get into any school, like if you apply yourself and
Oh,
do
yeah.
well. But people that like brag about like my school stadium is bigger than yours is just weird behavior.
Well, Penn State fans never do that. So
Unless you built it, like, shut up.
Did your dad build that stadium? If not, who cares, man?
Penn State fans don't do that at all, Clip. We don't brag ever about our
Y'all got way
110,000.
more stuff, doesn't it?
Our stadium only sits 106, and whiteouts it gets to like high 110,000. And
Great locker room. Heard the showers are nice.
yeah, there we go.
Well, Biggie Smalls said it best
You couldn't resist.
when he said,
If you don't know, now you know.
huh? No, not that one. When he said, state pen, bleep, bleep at Penn State. Anyway, look it up. We'll see you next week.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, J-Bone, and thank y'all.